and welcome to this episode of Talking Talent. I'm delighted to be joined today by Fran Rea, Director of Contact Centre and Service Delivery from multi-award-winning financial services organisation NewDay. Fran, hi, we've worked together for a while now, but for those who don't know, would you like to introduce yourself and more importantly, NewDay?
Yep, certainly. Hi there, Louise. Great to talk to you. Francesca Rea. I'm the Director of Contact Centre and Service Delivery at a company called NewDay. We're a UK consumer finance lender and we have nearly almost 5 million customers in the UK. We provide credit through credit cards, finance, instalment plans, and we've even got our cardless credit product, BIP, as well. So we have a number of clients that we work with, such as Amazon, AO, Argos and Deco as a platform, and we do our own direct customer cards as well, which is Aqua, BIP, Fluid, Marbles and Opus.
And a lot of those we're seeing quite a bit of branding on the TV at the moment, aren't we, in terms of advertising? So that's brilliant. So I think a lot of the brand profile has been raised, which is fab. And in terms of your own operation that you direct, it's primarily in Morley, which is in Leeds. Could you tell us a little bit about the operation and what you do?
Certainly. So we're based in Leeds, just in Morley, just outside Leeds, and we have a team that is contact centre, does both telephony and chat, and also complaints. And we are very much, we have a small team offshore to help with back office functions, but generally we're all in the in-house in our own centre. We used to outsource our own brand portfolio, the direct to consumer, but we were able to bring that in-house by creating capacity last year in March. So I'm really pleased to say everything's insured bar a tiny little overflow.
Fantastic, which is keeping you busy and on your toes, I'm sure.
Definitely.
And I really want to talk to you today about the digital servicing element, because NewDay, we're very much ahead of the curve. We see a lot of organisations still trying to get this right, but pre-pandemic, way before the pandemic, you guys were winning awards for your digital experience, which was brilliant. So I guess it really stood you in good stead for what's happened over the last couple of years, hasn't it? So could you tell us a little bit about the journey that you went on to get to that point?
Yes, so we've gone through a major digital adoption programme and we're really, really delighted about it. 99.2% of our customer service transactions are either automated or online, which is phenomenal. So our calls that come in are from our vulnerable customers, complex customers, and we now have seen such a change in the mix because of this digital adoption that we're providing digital assistance, and that's part of our new recruitment strategy that we'll probably talk about in a moment. The main sort of actions that we took were we went through in-housing all of our technical capability, because originally we were financial services with a bit of technology. Now we wanted to drive much more towards being recognized for our technical capability and becoming a fintech ourselves. And so we brought all that in. So we built our own web and app platforms. We built our own data lake with all the data scientists. So we brought all those digital developers in. We've been building our own Fusion environment where all of our applications are housed. So for example, my customer service application, NewServe, is one single pane of glass, all built in-house, which is phenomenal. Then having done that, we then needed to really pull the customers to our online and app solutions. And so we created a number of features. Initially, that just brought us in line with others, but now we're very much leading edge, and certainly in things we're doing with collections. We then did a push strategy to push customers to that with the basic transactions. And we've done that by having our digital coordinators who coach people online. And now very much it's about digital assistance, which I think is pretty important in the digital world, to have that voice channel to help people when they need digital help.
Agreed. Yeah, certainly I do. And I guess that brings me nicely to the point that early last year, sort of peak lockdown almost, we had a conversation and you were quite bold and decided you want to go at that point when everyone else was kind of resting on their laurels in terms of hiring. Certainly, you decided to go out with a recruitment campaign purely for digital servicing team, the digital coordinator team, so the management of it and the agent. So what was the thinking behind that at the time?
Yeah, I think it's really, as I said before, we're very in touch with what customers are calling about, and we saw the mix had definitely changed. So we definitely still saw the calls from vulnerable customers, complex queries, but the majority of the basic transactions were online. So the calls we were getting in where people needed some help, perhaps their biometrics had been knocked out, or maybe their password had locked out. So we really recognized that they needed help, or just through fear of cyber security with digital assistance. So this is where we did a trial. We had 30 people in. It was so successful in terms of customer satisfaction and associate satisfaction scores. So people really were delighted to have that sort of help. And they coached the customer through, rather than processing it for them and then saying go online, they actually taught them right the way through doing it online themselves. It went so well that we've now made our entire recruitment strategy around only recruiting digital coordinators, who are people that we brought in who had great empathy, great customer service skills and patience, but we wanted more about understanding. They were quite techie in terms of they were good with apps, devices, online, cybersecurity awareness, things like that. So it really helped us. And since then, we've upskilled the entire remainder of our contact center to become digital coordinators by giving them the relevant training as well. So it's been really successful.
Wow. And what impact has that had on your customers in terms of experience?
Really great. I mean, if I give you an example, our digital coordinators were achieving on their own, if you isolated them, they were achieving over a 10-point increase on NPS. We also measure net easy, because that's the most important thing for us. We measure at every touch point. And the ASAT, we were getting about 9.1, they were getting 9.6. So really great. And overall, that's now uplifted us up by, we're sort of hitting 73 as an entire contact center, with this team still hitting over the 80s. So it's really great.
That's amazing. And what has it done for engagement within the contact center, within the population of coordinators?
It's an interesting one, because I think given the period of the Great Resignation, I think people are thinking about what they want to do. And, just servicing as more and more gets automated is not very exciting for people. So I think that sort of, it's not the most attractive role, but by bringing in the digital aspect, by enabling people to do more in terms of supporting customers and really adding value, and also, ensuring that they are sort of triaging calls for us. So what they do is they'll triage and diagnose problems that customers are having, and they then feed that back into the business so we can fix them and get really good examples. And all of that, I think, is a very different role, and people are really relishing it. So we're seeing the recruitment going well as a result of that.
It's making the role more interesting, isn't it, at the end of the day, that it's not as transactional, I guess.
It is. And I think, one of the things we had to recognize was it needed an uplift in salary as well. So we gave an uplift in our salary. So we give a much more, whereas we were probably lagging a bit in the market after 21, I think now we're probably in that top quartile in terms of service contact center roles, which I'm delighted about.
Absolutely. Okay. And one of the most recent wins was the gold win for best use of customer insight, wasn't it? So tell me a little bit about that. How do your digital coordinators feed that customer insight into the business, and how does that impact on the strategy of the business?
Yeah, we're known for, and I think it's one of NewDay's greatest assets, is that we are really quick to gather insight, get insight, and act on insight. So we turn insight and our customer feedback into actionable outcomes that matter for customers. And I think we get it from a multiple of sources. So we send out surveys daily. When people are on the phones, we'll send out 5 per person per day. And we ask net promoter, net easy question, how easy was it to resolve, and associate satisfaction, as well as verbatim. And we use that verbatim to really understand the pain points, but we also gather it from our people. And this is where the triaging comes in very powerfully, and features that people want to see, things that are confusing customers, maybe things that are broken, and we'll do that. We also look at speech analytics and text analytics to validate some of those detractor statements. We use complaints, And we've even got a program where we use a platform where we've recruited real customers called Brand Ambassador. And we actually speak to them through this platform where they can try things out and feedback to us, as well as the app reviews, of course. All of that feeds into our customer issue resolution program. And we use that to really make changes that make a difference to our customers. And we've done that for the last 4 years. And that's been probably the fundamental piece of a lot of our award winning.
Do you have any examples of a couple of changes that have been made on that basis?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest ones we did right at the start was we changed the length of time it was to set up a direct debit, and that impacted right across the business because people were confused, thinking when they opened their account they might have set up a DD and they hadn't, but actually we made that much clearer. But we also took the timeline from, it was up to 54 days to set up a DD in those days. We now 6 days. So it's so quick and it starts taking straight away. So there's no problem with anyone missing payments. There's no problem with them getting stopped spending, any of that. So that was a really big one for us. And we saw complaints and contacts dramatically reduce on the back of that. And then I think it's simple things like changing letter copy because it was confusing, customers saying, explaining to us. Changing things like where things are online, so it's a bit easier for customers to understand, changing our FAQs, many, honestly, numerous changes on the back of it. And we even had someone just join us recently from a competitor, a very well-known competitor and respected, and they were delighted when they joined it. They said, you know, you do the big change quickly, as you know would be expected, but what's so great is you do the little things as well. You create room and you make the little things happen so that people can see change happening, and it really is things that benefit customers, which is great.
Brilliant. And do the individual team members get to hear about any changes that they might have fed back?
Yes, they feed in through a thing called, we call the bug board. So this is what's bugging you, and they send in their information, and we have someone sort of managing that and feeding back to them on the progress. Now, obviously, some things can be done quickly, some things are longer term projects. So what we do is we tend to do it through a you said, we did, and it's part of our engagement overall as well.
Brilliant. Wow. Exciting. And on that note, and finally, I mean, you've done so much over the years, Fran. I think you're 8 years with NewDay this year, won so many awards. What's next for the operation? What's coming down the track?
Yeah, I think the sort of things we're looking at is on the technical side, we're looking at, we're rolling out our own single pane of glass application for complaints. So we're looking at that end to end. That's in flight now. We're looking at virtual assistants. I'd really love everyone to have their own little virtual assistant. So like they create their own little avatar, but have something there that will listen to the conversation and bring information bespoke to the agent, so that they've got almost like a bespoke GUI that will pop up related to the customer journey they're going on, so they can really enrich the conversation with all the info. And voice bots, you know, two-way conversational voice bots. We're looking at making that journey a much better frictionless experience than you know, the directed dialogue type of IVR that we have currently.
Fantastic. So lots of exciting, I guess, all AI related stuff coming down the track, as we'd expect.
And equally new customers, as new customers come on board, we've seen a spike after, you know, in the first 60 days, a certain number of customers buy different products. We're doing a big drill down and analysis of that to understand what we're not getting quite so well in terms of communicating, timeliness, all of that, so that we can reduce those unnecessary contacts as well.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, Fran, thank you for today. That's been really insightful. Thanks for sharing so much with us. We look forward to seeing what comes next for NewDay and for you.
Thank you very much. Very exciting. Thanks, Louise.
Thank you.
Bye.